Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a storm that has been brewing within the WNBA, one that has caused quite a stir among fans, players, and analysts alike. Sue Bird, a respected voice in the league, has spoken out about a major issue affecting the WNBA's credibility and leadership. Under Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. At the center of the controversy is Caitlin Clark, whose groundbreaking season has sparked not just excitement, but serious questions about how the league has treated her. Let's break down what's going on and what it means for the future of the WNBA. But before further proceeding in video, please support us by subscribe to our channel for daily basketball updates.
I watched pretty much every single one of Caitlin's games early on because I am a fan. I do like good basketball, and of course I wanted to see how she would do.
We're stepping into the heart of a brewing controversy within the WNBA, a situation that has stirred strong reactions from fans, players, and analysts alike. Sue Bird, one of the league's most esteemed voices, has brought attention to a significant issue threatening the WNBA's reputation and leaders. Under Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. But what sparked this wave of dissatisfaction? At the center of it all is Caitlin Clark, the rising star whose record-setting season has become mired in controversy due to the way the league has treated her. And it seems this issue stems directly from the top.
I just don't. And it actually, we talked about this before, like the fan that went hard at Caitlin at the Connecticut Sun game in game 1 or 2, I can't remember, where there was an interaction where the fan almost got ejected. It's like, none of this is okay, and we never accept it. We never accept this on the men's side. Why is it okay in our league?
We're about to delve into how Bird's revelations, along with the WNBA's leadership decisions, have revealed cracks in its foundation. Why was Clark, who played a huge role in boosting viewership and attendance, treated in such a way that left fans infuriated? What role does Commissioner Engelbert play in all of this? Prepare to break down what this means for the league's future.
This intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music, like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry.
Commissioner Cathy Engelbert's recent public remarks have ignited heated debates and drawn sharp criticism from fans and analysts alike. Her appearance on CNBC's Power Lunch fueled backlash when she emphasized the importance of rivalries as a key factor in increasing the sport's visibility. While intended to highlight the role competition plays in sports, her comments seem tone-deaf given the negative attention faced by players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. The timing of her words made the situation even more contentious.
One white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. It's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players.
The problem wasn't just the comments themselves, but the broader implications they suggested. Critics, including soccer icon Megan Rapinoe, pointed out that Engelbert's focus on rivalries over player safety and well-being was a major oversight. Rapinoe called out the commissioner on her podcast, with Sue Bird arguing that Engelbert had failed to protect players from the toxic and often racist rhetoric circulating online and in stadiums. This critique resonated with many, who felt the league's leadership was more invested in marketing than in safeguarding its athletes.
We knew it was coming. This wasn't a surprise. And not just the comments that the commissioner made a few weeks ago where she basically implied that the racial tension is good for business and invoking Magic and Bird. It's not good for business. It's never good for business. And sort of sidestep the question about racism and misogyny and hate that the players are receiving online, basically saying like, don't go on social media or, it's sort of not real.
Engelbert later issued an apology, stating that she should have been more direct in condemning hate speech. While it was an attempt to correct the misstep, it fell flat for many players and fans who had expected more substantial action. This apology underscored the growing disconnect between the league's leadership and its core responsibilities, player safety and integrity. The backlash didn't come out of nowhere. Analysts pointed out that Engelbert's leadership style has often focused more on marketable narratives than on real policy changes. Her public focus on rivalries only highlighted the lack of tangible efforts to address urgent issues like player safety and respect, leaving many to feel that profits were prioritized over principles. In fact, this was her response when asked about the refereeing issue.
Obviously, not every, they're humans, looking at technology. Basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
The stakes for the WNBA have never been higher. With players like Caitlin Clark driving up viewership and energizing the fan base, Engelbert's approach threatens to undermine the very gains the league has made. Fans and players alike are questioning whether this leadership model is sustainable. Is the focus on rivalries just a distraction from more pressing concerns? And how have these decisions affected one of the WNBA's most influential players?
Coming out of college and going into the WNBA, we as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacking them as people. And that's, again, where that petty and jealousy lives.
Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe's podcast episode didn't mince words when it came to discussing WNBA leadership. Bird, regarded as one of the greatest players in the game's history, and Rapinoe, a fierce advocate for social justice, addressed the alarming divide between league officials and the realities faced by players. Bird pointed out that Engelbert's comments on CNBC about rivalries missed the point entirely. The focus, Bird argued, should have been on protecting players and fans from the toxic, racially motivated attacks that had become rampant. She shared how hostile the environment had become, with players feeling unsafe both online and in arenas, and how fans were being unfairly generalized for behaviors they hadn't even exhibited.
There is one thing I want to reset, that we want to reset, and it's the language being used around fans. Fever fans, Caitlin fans, new fans. That actually has to go. That has to go. I understand why at times it's been used. It's kind of just when you're in an interview and you get asked a question, it's kind of easy to go, oh, the Fever fan base.
Yeah,
what
what do you mean by
fans.
that? That has to go.
Oh, these new fans. It has to go because it's not the Fever fan.
Rapinoe backed this up by saying that the WNBA and its leadership failed to shield players from the negative side of the sport's newfound popularity. This critique pointed to a deeper issue: the leadership's priorities might be misaligned, focusing more on public relations than on real action. The podcast also revealed that certain leadership decisions had deepened the divide between fans and players. Bird was particularly concerned with how unchecked commentary and the emphasis on rivalries were spilling over into harmful real-world behavior. But the podcast wasn't all about airing grievances. Both Bird and Rapinoe called for proactive steps to fix these issues, urging the league to reassess its priorities, arguing that simply relying on marketing wasn't enough.
From the WNBA's perspective, the WNBA and the league office and Kathy's role specifically is basically to protect and shepherd the league, both from a business perspective, from a player welfare perspective, from a health and safety perspective, and from a growth and investment perspective. And this is where I feel like she's failed.
As Bird and Rapinoe examined the failures of leadership, one thing became clear: players were being asked to bear an unsustainable burden. Not only were they expected to perform at the highest level, but they were also expected to defend themselves against online attacks and in-person hostility, all while trying to grow the game. This, Bird suggested, was eroding trust within the WNBA community. The question now is whether the league will heed these calls for change or continue down a path that could compromise its credibility and future growth.
I did not come out of college with the same level of popularity, scrutiny, all of it. Nobody has. Caitlin is one of one. There's zero doubt about that.
Caitlin Clark's debut season wasn't just remarkable, it was groundbreaking. From record-breaking performances to clutch game-winning shots, she brought an electrifying energy that attracted new fans and reinvigorated longtime supporters. Her influence was so powerful that analysts began calling it the Caitlin Clark effect, with ticket sales, TV ratings, and merchandise sales all soaring. Yet, the league's response was curiously muted.
Caitlin continuing to impress and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break.
The WNBA leadership's failure to fully embrace Clark's success revealed deeper systemic issues within the league. Instead of using her historic season as a platform to engage with new audiences and solidify its fan base, leadership appeared hesitant. A prime example was the tepid recognition of Clark's accomplishments, such as her Rookie of the Year award, a moment that should have been a spotlight for the league but was handled with surprising restraint, leaving both supporters and analysts perplexed.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
Will the Fever go all in on their star or risk losing her for nothing? The next moves will determine the direction of the franchise, balancing loyalty to their top players with the need for long-term success. It's decision time for the Fever's front office. It was all for today. Thanks for watching. Will the Fever go all in on their star or risk losing her for nothing? The next moves will determine the direction of the franchise, balancing loyalty to their top players with the need for long-term success. It's decision time for the Fever's front office. It was all for today. Thanks for watching.